15-year-old Sharleen was your average high school girl with lots of friends. But Sharleen also had a dark side. In this year, she had met a friend by the name of Cheryl. Cheryl was a year older than Sharleen. Cheryl was deep into black magic. She had slowly influenced Sharleen, almost like slow marination. When they first met, Sharleen had never known about black magic or knew how it worked. She also hardly ever wore black clothing. In fact, she was a girly girl, and her favorite colors were lipstick red and hot pink. Sharleen soon after began to relish the thought and idea of practicing black magic as well as witchery, and also started wearing all black clothing and dark makeup. You can surely describe this style as emo or gothic, but this is a much sinister, darker style than anyone can imagine. Practicing and messing around with dark forces and black magic can get you caught up and make your life into shambles. Sharleen and her new friend Cheryl would skip classes here and there to go to one of the local magic shops that sold magic spell books on witchcraft and black magic, all types of incenses and scented candles. They would skip classes at least twice a week to go to this shop, sometimes to not buy anything, but to roam and walk around the shop, intrigued and in awe of all of the stuff the shop sold for black magic. Both Sharleen and Cheryl relished the thought of casting spells and doing black magic. Their favorite movie to watch together was the movie The Craft, a movie about four girlfriends at a high school that practiced putting spells on people at school. And the irony of the story that both Sharleen and Cheryl were so deeply entailed into this dark world and putting spells on the vulnerable. One Halloween night, their lives are surely to change. In 1995, a friend of Cheryl's, Darlene, had something to show Cheryl. She had bought a board game known as the Ouija board from a kid's local toy store, Toys R Us. It was a wicked game that casted spells and connected with spirits of all sorts through a portal using words and a magnifying glass. Cheryl is in lust and her eyes sparkle as she is staring with a look of excitement at the board game. She can't wait to tell Sharleen about the game, so Cheryl and her other friend Arlene both run off to Sharleen's house. When they make it to Sharleen's home, they are thrilled with excitement and can't wait to play the game together. Along with Sharleen, they get together at Sharleen's home and Sharleen takes advantage of the situation since her parents aren't home for the night. Her siblings are all in their rooms doing their own thing, watching late night horror fest movies and hanging with their friends. Sharleen tells her friends Cheryl and Darlene to follow her downstairs to the house basement, where anybody hardly goes, with the exception of Sharleen's dad, whom periodically goes down there to haul out some tools or to put things away that are sometimes laying around the house and have no use for. All three girls are enthralled. It's also a creepier setting in the basement since it is dark inside and cold. The dirt ground is also cold and hardly any light is visible from the outside. Darlene pulls out the board game and she goes over the instructions with Sharleen and Cheryl. She asks one of the girls who wants to go first, and Sharleen offers to go first. And so she rolls the dice and completes the other steps to the game. The magnifying glass soon after moves around and across the board, spelling out letters, and it tells them if they want to be friends with Maria. The girls are confused. They don't know who Maria is. The board keeps spelling out words, and it then tells them that Maria feels lonely and that she's in need of friends. One of the girls, Cheryl, begins to feel hot. She isn't sweating, but she feels a burning sensation in her face and arms. She begins to panic, and thus the other girls begin to worry about her friend. They also notice the ground also becoming increasingly hot. The dirt that was once cold and moist is now beginning to feel hot. So this was starting to escalate from fun to pure panic. They decide to close the game and put it away for the night. So Darlene puts it back into her backpack and they decide to go back inside the house and watch Halloween Horror Fest for the rest of the night until it is late enough for Darlene and Cheryl to walk back home. These girls loved the night and hated being out in the daytime. They just liked everything creepy and about witchcraft and dark forces. So after that, they watch a few movies and enjoy some buttered popcorn and Halloween treats for the night. The two friends of Sharleen, Cheryl and Darlene, finally decide to leave Charlene's place and go back home. They say bye to their friend Sharleen and walk out the back door of the house through the backyard before any of Charlene's siblings see her friends through the window so they wouldn't tell the parents. The two girls walk out together and decide to walk together home since they live very close to Sharleen and it's on the same route going to each of their houses. Halfway as they are walking, both Darlene and Cheryl begin talking about the board game. They both stare and look at each other and take a pause. Cheryl then asks Darlene, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And Darlene says, "Yeah, let's do it." They see a park across the street from where they are walking home and spot a wooden bench nearby next to a tree. They make their way over to the bench. They take a seat on the bench and Darlene takes out yet again the board game. They are both terrified but can't get enough of the game. Something about the thrill and excitement, creepy excitement of the game lures them more and more, as if someone or something is telling them to keep playing. Almost like an urge, a deep urge. Darlene goes first this time, and the board spells out, "Hi, it's Maria." They look at each other and can't believe it's the same spirit trying to communicate yet again with them. They pause for a moment and the board keeps spelling out on its own. This time it tells them, "Please don't stop playing. I am your friend." So they keep playing to see how far they can get, to see what else happens. And the game then asks them, "Where is Sharleen?" It is then that they are brutally terrified. The board game then spells out both Cheryl and Denise's names, and they realize that now it's been an hour and they are still out playing with this game. It was foolish to mess around with, but yet again, here they are playing it uncontrollably. They wrap it up and just speed walk back home. The next day at school, Charlie asks her friends if they made it back home safe, and they tell her, "Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did." But something is off. Sharleen notices that both Cheryl and Darlene haven't really slept, and she sees they both have dark circles under their eyes, and they look like something is bothering them. Sharleen just feels a really dark vibe, and Sharleen realizes this since she knows both her friends pretty well. Eventually after, school's over, and the three friends decide to meet up by the bus stop, and they both come out clean and tell Sharleen that something in fact was wrong and that they hadn't slept all through the night because they were worried. They tell Sharleen that after they left their house on Halloween night, they both went to a park to play the game again. Tell her that Maria knows her name and both Cheryl and Darlene's names as well, and that they've been restless because they hear Maria's voice even though other people can't hear her voice. Sharleen is spooked, but at the same time, she really wants to see for herself if what her friends are saying is true. And so the three friends decide on it and meet up at Denise's place. They all get together and go inside Denise's room where they set up the game, and again, the same Maria is communicating with them. She tells them she had passed away in a tragic car accident at age 17. on a joyride with their friends after a house party. The same age as all three girls, with the exception of Sharleen, age 16. They are more and more intrigued by Maria, and almost like they are casted in a spell or some kind of trance. Maria then tells them to party and rebel against their parents and family, and to party a lot and drink and smoke and just have fun. She also tells one of the girls, Cheryl, to take her mom's car without a license and joyride while intoxicated. They all know this isn't right, but for some reason they listen to Maria and agree to become her friend. A few days pass and the girls haven't seen each other after school, only during school hours. Here and there they talk about and bring up the game, but they still haven't played, and all three friends soon realize that they are hearing the same voice, and it is Maria telling them to party and have fun and rebel and be reckless, almost like she is luring them into a tragedy. They meet up again after school one day and decide to play yet again. They open up the game and Maria again is telling them to play and play more and more. Days go by and the girls are just intoxicated with this game. They start smoking weed, hanging out with more and more random people, committing theft and petty robbery. And on one of these days, Cheryl in fact does decide to take her mom's car while she isn't home. Her mom had a small minivan and an extra car that she drove, a 4-cylinder, and invites Sharleen and Darlene out for a joyride. They head over to one of the local liquor stores and ask one of the homeless men outside that's smoking a cigarette if he can go inside for them and buy them alcohol. They bribe him and give him money, a little extra money, as a reward and thank you. The homeless man agrees and goes inside the liquor store and buys them alcohol. The girls are thrilled and happy, excited. They really can't believe that this has just happened and got alcohol in their hands. Even though they are underage, they don't care. They want to break rules and they are listening and hearing Maria's voice constantly talking to them. They are more and more paranoid, but also more and more intrigued and amused by Maria, as Maria is guiding them into tragedy. Charlene's mom starts noticing weird things with their daughter. She knows her daughter has been acting a lot more different. She tries to talk to her one day, but Sharleen just doesn't want to talk to her mom about anything, hearing Maria's voice as her mom figure and her best friend, along with the two other girls, Cheryl and Darlene. Her mom is a very straightforward Catholic and religious person. She tells Sharleen to go to church with her one day, but Sharleen just doesn't want to. She forces her and grabs her and pulls her into the car and drags her to church. Her mom is pleading for help, asking the priest that something is wrong with her daughter. She feels a dark vibe around her, a dark aura around her. She knows something is fishy and she knows her daughter very well and that something is up. Father Angelo agrees to help Charlene's mom, and even though Sharleen is restless and doesn't want to even talk to the priest or her mom, the priest can also feel a dark force around her. He performs a prayer with holy water and blesses Charlene's soul, and all of a sudden, Charlene's voice starts to change. There is a deep undertone voice, a raspy, demonic voice inside of her, and she starts to curse at the priest and yell at him. Sharleen then yells out, "I'm on fire! I'm on fire!" Father Angelo is in panic, and her mom is crying and begging for mercy and keeps praying out loud and asking for help from above, since she knows that her daughter is most likely possessed by a dark force. Father Angelo tries to remain calm and at ease as he is performing his prayers upon Sharleen. Sharleen violently begins to spit out ooze and green spit from her mouth, almost like a howling beast at midnight. Sharleen eventually calms down and comes down to her senses. She calms down and apologizes to Father Angelo and her mom. Sharleen's mom can't thank Father Angelo enough for helping her and her daughter. Father Angelo says thank you and blesses them and sends them their way home. That's the end of this story, folks. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, and turn on your notifications for more stories. I hope you enjoyed it.